Hello, writers, and welcome back to Spooky Writes, your channel all about writing. I'm your host, who is secretly a ghost, Kamal Onor. Now, today we're going to be talking about something that you need to stop writing because it is ruining the ending of your story, it is ruining your creativity. So make sure if you get any value from this video, give it a good thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, help it grow, trying to improve and trying to grow the channel. And with that said, let's head into the storm.
It's the raven's call, the werewolf's howl, the vampire's bite. You search through the woods for safety, but all you find is... Okay,
So one of the big things that I find beginning writers want to do when they start writing, when they start attempting to write short fiction, when they start to write short stories, is they feel that every story that they write has to have some unique twist to it, has to have a shocking ending. And there are a few problems that I personally have with stories that revolve entirely around a plot twist at the end. So yes, the big thing that you need to stop writing is stop trying to write plot twists. Stop trying to write some clever way of, at the very end, it was all a dream. And of course, that's something that you shouldn't be writing at all, where it turns out that the entire story was just a dream. What a twist, right? That's not something good to practice, but it's also, in my opinion, it's a waste of your time to be trying to conceive, when you're trying to write a story that revolves and hinges around the entire story building up to a single point where you're like, haha, look, the whole time it was actually Old Man Withers, or as Scooby-Doo might say.
Why, it's Old Man Withers, the guy who runs the haunted amusement park. And I would have got away with it too if it hadn't been for you snooping kids.
Good one, Shaggy.
So yes, the big thing that I have against plot twist endings is that they are so seldom done well. And especially for beginning writers, it's one of those things that I remember in a lot of my early creative writing classes, almost every story that we would workshop, every story that someone would bring to the class that day would hinge around some uncreative twist at the very end. The whole rest of the story didn't matter, but the only thing that mattered was this twist at the very end, which was, aha! And one of the big things that I have that I don't enjoy about plot twist endings is the fact that it feels cheap to me. It feels very cheap to me. It feels as though the entire time the author was lying to the reader. And again, seldom is it done well. And even if it is done well, the other thing that I have that ruins plot twist endings at the very end is when it's not warranted, when the whole rest of the story feels like a big lie. And this is how I feel about stories where it's almost as though the rest of the story doesn't matter because the only thing that the author wanted to get across was the idea of, haha, fooled you. And so as beginning writers, don't worry about trying to be clever. Don't worry about trying to come up with some unique twist, some unique spin on a trope that you're trying to come up with a clever way of deceiving the reader. This, I believe, is where a lot of beginning writers get stuck. A lot of beginning writers get stuck with the idea that they have to come up with some unique, clever twist at the end and if they don't have a clever twist, what's the point of reading the entire story if there's no clever, haha, gotcha moment at the very end? And honestly, this is going to be a poor way to craft a story. It's a poor way to come up with an idea where the whole thing hinges on there being some twist at the end. And I'm not talking about a Deus Ex Machina ending where the ending is clearly not earned, but just from out of nowhere, some claw comes along and saves everyone. But I'm talking about the story that is written solely to deceive, the story that is written entirely to, at the very end, go, haha, the whole time I fooled you because you thought this character was real. And this leads to my other big issue that I have with plot twist endings, is the readability of that story, the rereadability of that novel, the rereadability of that work is gone, because once you know the plot twist, once you know that that character was just a figment of the protagonist's imagination, it makes the whole, you can't reread that story and say, oh, well, Tyler Durden, of course Tyler Durden, I knew the whole time that he wasn't real. And that's the other thing that I have, another issue that I have with plot twist endings, is that often it becomes pretty obvious when you're reading a work that's going to hinge around a plot twist ending. And I tend to have two different responses when I read a story that has some plot twist ending at the very end where it's just, and twist, oh, I didn't see that coming. And one response that I have is, huh, that's interesting. The other response that I have is, well, that doesn't make much sense. Or rather, oh, of course. And so oftentimes it's very hard for me to feel as though plot twist endings are ever truly earned, as though they are ever truly worth it in the end of the story. So many times beginning writers feel like, I have to have a plot twist, and if I don't have a plot twist, then it's just the story being told from A to B, and events happen in the middle. And you know what? That's what a story is. A story is literally, event happens, and then some other events happen along the way, and then we get to our conclusion. That's what a story is. A story is not about plot twists. A story is not about, haha, fooled the reader. You thought the whole time that this character was safe, and then at the last minute they died because you came up with some plot twist ending, or because you wanted the characters to do something in a certain way. This to me feels like cheap writing. It feels inauthentic, and you need to be authentic in your writing. And this is why I highly recommend that you stop worrying about plot twist endings. Stop worrying about coming up with some unique way to deceive and some unique way to trick the reader into believing one thing, and then at the last minute say, haha, the whole time I fooled you, got you, I can't believe you fell for it. I can't believe you thought that character was real the whole time. And so seldom is it actually an earned ending. And endings really have to be earned. So if you're writing a story with the sole intent of it being some plot twist where, surprise, the character was blind from the beginning, you're going to get this response from me. Well, okay. It's not going to get the reaction that you're expecting as the author, where you're like, haha, I am so smart. Look at me write. They'll never see it coming. I don't care if I didn't see it coming. Again, it's either going to be, oh, sure, whatever, that makes sense. But it's not going to be an, oh my God moment for me. And so seldom our plot twist endings actually result in that ending. So my advice to you is focus on telling a story that is honest and truthful. Don't try and deceive your readership. And there is a difference between trying to deceive the reader and keeping things hidden from the reader. When you're keeping things hidden from the reader, you're hinting at things. You're not showing everything that's going on. And this can be done through the perspective of the character telling the story. This can be done in many ways that can be successful, and it doesn't feel like cheap writing that's sole intent is to deceive the reader. Readers don't want to be deceived. I don't want to be deceived. I want a story that is going to be truthful, and if there is something that is going to be a twist, I want it to be foreshadowed, but I don't want it to be so heavily hinted at that I'm going to go midway through the story and say, this guy is probably not real. And then the whole rest of the story, I'm waiting for this big reveal at the end where I'm just, oh, saw that coming. So my advice is avoid writing plot twist endings. Focus on a story that is unique in its situations and the scenarios that occur in it. And don't worry about writing plot twist endings. Instead, stop writing plot twist endings. So that's what I have for you this week. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to leave a comment down below. Tell me what is your favorite type of ending in a story. And with that, keep it spooky.
must return to the shadows.